Bengals finally took care of business at home, picking up their first win of the season at Paycor Stadium by a score of 41-24 over the Las Vegas Raiders. We talked about it all week, how it really felt like a must-win game going into this afternoon for Cincinnati. They were able to rise to the occasion and get the job done. The offense was absolutely brilliant in this game. Joe Burrow was incredible, which we'll touch on throughout our video here today. Threw for 5 touchdowns. And the defense really stepped up in big moments when they had to. Granted, you're going against this Las Vegas Raiders team, not exactly a high-powered attack offensively, but they did a really nice job for Lou Anarumo in today's game. So really just a complete team win and kind of gets your season back on the rails, so to speak. And you had a big one coming next week on a short week at Baltimore. So this, of course, is our instant reaction video, which we'll get to here in a moment. But make sure you guys hit that sub button right now if you have not done so already. The NFL trade deadline is on Tuesday. Now, the Bengals typically don't make any moves, but if I'm Cincinnati, this year more than ever feels like a year where you need to make a move, which we'll touch on at the end of our video. But don't miss any of our NFL trade deadline coverage. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/BengalsTV. We'll start on kind of a tough note here for Cincinnati. Erick All Jr, 4th-round pick at that tight end position, spent time at Michigan before transferring to Iowa, has had an incredible rookie campaign for this Cincinnati Bengals team, has done great things in the pass-catching game, and even more so in the blocking game as well. And he had to leave the game with a knee injury. Zac Taylor was very concerned when he was talking about him at his press conference after this game. And you worry a little bit about Erick All Jr. He's had a history of getting hurt, and it kind of was a non-contact play for Erick All Jr., and you could tell he tried to shed that tackle, and then he kind of just went down on his own. So it does not appear to be good for Erick All Jr. Luckily, all the other tight ends stepped up, which we'll get to a little bit later in today's show. Certainly would be a massive hit if the Bengals are going to be without Erick All Jr. moving forward. Of course, we will keep you updated on his status as time goes on. Takeaway number 1, Joe Burrow is playing the best football in the National Football League at the quarterback position. You can't really argue that at this point. He was absolutely flawless I shouldn't say flawless because he had one mistake that happened in the 4th quarter. But apart from that mistake, he was absolutely insane in this game. Threw for 5 touchdowns, 250 yards, 27 of 39 through the air. The pick happened at the very beginning of the 4th quarter when the Bengals were up 21. Kind of just threw one to Jamar Chase in the flat, and the corner that was covering Yoshi left his man and just walked right in front of it, took it to the house for a pick 6. So that sucked. But apart from that, Joe Burrow was absolutely fantastic in this game. Said in the pregame and said this week leading up, Joe Burrow had to go out there and find a way to win for Cincinnati. I understand he's played so good throughout this year, but the record hasn't really reflected that. Today was about Joe Burrow going out there and getting it done with that killer instinct, that killer mindset that he has, that just savage toughness that he plays with on every single snap. He went out there and got it done, led this football team. And I get it. Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback in the NFL, whatever. Right now, Joe Burrow is playing like that guy. And the Bengals really need to take advantage of his play and start stringing together some wins here as we move forward here in November. Leads us to the pinned comment of today's video. Grade the Bengals for me against the Raiders in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. I want to know what you think. Probably an A- for me. I think you really played a complete football game, and it was great to see you go out there and get a win with your backs against the wall. Give us a grade in the comment section if that ad comes here on YouTube. That's totally fine. Take advantage of it. Get down in the comment section and let us know what you think. Second takeaway, Trey Hendrickson was absolutely unbelievable in this game. Didn't matter if it was Gardner Minshew playing quarterback or later in the game when it was Desmond Ridder. Trey Hendrickson was absolutely outstanding in this football game, was causing havoc all over the place. Hendrickson, of course, really struggled last week for Cincinnati going up against that Philadelphia Eagles front with Fred Johnson. Really got stonewalled, and boy, did he bounce back in really incredible fashion this week against Las Vegas. Had a career-high 4 sacks on the game. Was absolutely unbelievable, was really causing havoc all over the place for Lou Anarumo's defense, was getting pressure on the quarterback. Even when he wasn't getting those sacks, he was applying a lot of pressure on the quarterback, was quality in the run game as well. You really need to pair Trey Hendrickson with another guy, which we'll get to at the end of our show here today. But Trey Hendrickson really is an elite player on your football team. When I think about the Cincinnati Bengals and their talent, I think about Joe Burrow, I think about Jamar Chase, and I think about this guy right here, number 91, Trey Hendrickson. Again, 4 sacks. Absolutely incredible career high for Hendrickson going against that Raiders front. And look, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. They're a 2-win ball club for a reason, but he went out there and really proved his worth here this afternoon. Was absolutely fantastic and a big reason why Cincinnati won this game. Cincinnati's going to need a lot more of that going forward if they're going to continue to have success on defense like they did in this game against the Raiders. We'll continue with our takeaways here in a moment, but first, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, because today's instant reaction video is presented by Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks is the easiest way to find and buy tickets to live events. Tickets for the Bengals' next home game, which, by the way, isn't until December 1st against the Pittsburgh Steelers, are on sale now. So head on over to Game Time and get the best deals possible. 2 favorite features on Game Time: the seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with Game Time. Secondly, the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature up front allows you to see your total up front so you don't get hit with any of those surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, another takeaway here in this game for me is the tight ends really stepped up for you in Zac Taylor's offense. As we mentioned at the top of the show, Erick All Jr. went down with that knee injury. But going into this game, you were thin at that wide receiver position, right? Jermaine Burton skips a meeting on Saturday, or skips his walkthrough practice on Saturday, has to be inactive for this game on Sunday because he doesn't know how to handle his business like a professional. Zac Taylor even said he was a big part of this game plan. He just decided not to show up. So obviously that is an issue. He was the guy you were without. T. Higgins, of course, missed a second straight game with his quad injury. Charlie Jones was out with the groin, so you really had to look to that unit to really step up. Mike Gesicki is the first name that pops to mind. 2 touchdowns for him. His first 2 as a Cincinnati Bengal was great, seeing him at the gritty in the end zone with Jamar Chase. 100-yard receiving day for Mike Gesicki. Absolutely outstanding. Drew Sample found his way into the end zone. He's really the best blocking tight end for Cincinnati, but he had some receptions today, including a critical one on 3rd down, as well as a critical one, of course, in the end zone. And Tanner Hudson as well had that big 4th down catch. And, I got to give Tanner Hudson his flowers a little bit here because he really took a lot of heat from me and a lot of the fan base, of course, after his performance week 1 against New England when he had that fumble at the goal line. But he really had a massive game for Cincinnati today. That 4th down catch on that first drive was really critical. Really happy with the way the tight end stepped up, and they're going to probably need to continue to do that since it looks like Erick All is going to miss at least some time, hopefully not the remainder of the season. Another opportunity for you guys to get interactive with our show here at Bengals Breakdown. What's your one-word reaction to the Bengals win versus the Raiders? Give us one word, sound off for us. I want to know what you guys think in the comments right now of today's video. All right, you guys love, banging on Zac Taylor. Zac Taylor was brilliant in this football game. The aggression there on that first drive after Vegas goes down, takes the 7-0 lead in that ball game. I was sitting there saying, Evan McPherson, let's go attempt a 37-yard field goal. He says, no, it's 4th and 3, and we're going here. At home, we're setting the tone. He comes up with a great play call. Joe Burrow, of course, works some magic, works his way up in the pocket, finds Tanner Hudson for that 4th down conversion. But really the adjustments that were made in the run game is something that also reflects on Zac Taylor. The offensive line did a great job in this game, kind of bouncing back after their poor ability to run the football last week. Against Philadelphia, the Bengals simply could not run the football. They were one-dimensional, and Chase Brown went out there and absolutely went off in this game. Rushed for 120 yards, absolutely unbelievable. Had a touchdown catch as well in this football game, and he had to really step up with Zach Moss missing this game with a neck injury. And I kind of wondered whether or not Travion Williams would get some of those carries that Zach Moss had been handling, leading up to this point in the season. But they pretty much went exclusively with Chase Brown. He did a great job. But ultimately, Zac Taylor, got to give him his flowers for how he had his team prepared, how they showed up, how they responded to some adversity early on after, falling behind 7-0. Got to be happy with how Zack Taylor coached today. And, of course, all the distraction and the noise surrounding him and his football team. He was able to put that to the side, go out there, and really do a great job for Cincinnati in this game. He deserves a lot of credit. Last takeaway here for me on today's instant reaction video of Bengals Breakdown. You have to make a deadline move. You have to. You are too good. You have too much talent. Your quarterback is playing too well to just sit here and not try to make an adjustment. It is very clear to me. Trey Hendrickson popped off in this game. But last week when he didn't do anything for you, you didn't even have a threat when it came to getting to the quarterback. You need a pass rusher. There is a veteran pass rusher that is out there that you can probably give up a day 3 pick and go get. That's something that needs to be done here for this Bengals football team. Absolutely no doubt about it. It was good to see Cedric Johnson get some snaps out there today because Myles Murphy really has been pretty dreadful for you at that pass rusher position. I will continue to monitor what exactly went on with Cedric Johnson. I know during our watch party I didn't really call his name that often, so we'll take a look at exactly what his snap count was. But you have to add somebody to this team because you have too much talent. This is probably the last year that you have T. Higgins on this football team. Granted, he isn't healthy right now, but you have to take advantage of this year. You have enough pieces. Your quarterback is playing better than anybody in the National Football League, and it's a relatively weak AFC this year, and there's plenty of opportunity to go out there and make something happen. I would love to see at least one move before Tuesday's deadline from Duke Tobin in this Bengals front office that really could help them take that next step and potentially make a postseason push.